Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, gentlemen, for the challenges that you're facing and the options you're presenting to Congress on this. General Dempsey, Congress is being asked to fund training for about 5,000 moderate Syrian rebels. If Congress would provide that funding immediately, how long do you think it would take before a program's going to be up and running? I realize there's a lot of variables involved in this. You need to find the folks that we're going to be training. You need to thoroughly vet them to make sure they are the fighters that we need and that we desire. Also, how do the moderates leave the field of battle? How are they going to defend that territory in Syria while they're being trained? How are they going to defend that against Assad? If you could address that, please.
To the first part of your question, Senator, we think 3 to 5 months to establish the program. Some of that is consumed by contracting for equipment. It's not as much, maneuvering people into the right place. But during that period of time as well, we would have to, with the help of, in particular, some of our regional partners, recruit and vet. But 3 to 5 months, and then deliver a capability sometime between 8 and 12 months. So that's kind of the time frame that we're working toward. To your question about will they come to be trained, in many cases they've already been driven out of their homes and out of their villages by ISIL or by the regime in some cases. So we think we'll be recruiting mostly from displaced populations, and therefore it won't be as though they're giving up the security of their families to come and train with us.
Sir, I believe this is the first request from the administration, but it will not be the last. We're looking at 5,000 fighters now. We're looking at a growing force by ISIL that's, as you've estimated, is 31,000. Over this period of months where we're going to be training, finding people, vetting, training them, that will only grow, in my opinion. As we look at this request, I believe it should be separate from the CR. I think it's very important that Congress have a full debate on it. I know you probably have nothing to say on how we do our business here, but I believe we need to be honest with the American people on what lies ahead. And with the request as it is, we are not being honest with the American people. If we truly are going to defeat ISIL, to degrade them and to defeat them, it's not just this one request. Do you anticipate that the President will be sending more requests to Congress? And if so, when may we expect to see those? Secretary Hagel. I know you're anxious to answer.
Well, I always like to respond to a fellow Nebraskan. The reason that I'm going to answer first is because this really puts the general in a more difficult position than he should be in. So he may want to add something, but let me answer this way. First, because I do know a little something about your institution, if it was a perfect world and we didn't have the time constraints that we all are under, and you weren't all scheduled to go out here, a session here in a couple of days, and the world was more perfect, I agree. This should have a thorough airing with the American people.
If I could just interrupt
yes.
you on that, just because we're scheduled to go out on Thursday, we don't have to go out on Thursday, do we, sir?
Well, that's not a decision for me to make, nor a recommendation. That falls clearly on your side of the dais. But that said, if we would not get the authority now, we would lose a considerable amount of time. And I know it's imperfect. It was never meant to jam anyone or to put anybody in a tough spot. But it is my opinion, the President's been pretty clear on this, that the time is of the essence here. And when the Congress comes back, and obviously when you come back, I assume there will have been an election and start forming a new Congress, there will be a debate. There should be a debate about this. As to your questions, what further requests might be coming, Senator, right now, the President has been as straightforward and honest with you, with the American people, as I have been. There's no hidden agenda here, or we're waiting for another shoe to drop on a request. No. I can't guarantee you at all. I don't think you would want your Secretary of Defense to say, I'm sorry, this is the end, no more. I think General Dempsey's point in some of his answers here this morning, he certainly will recommend, if he thinks we need some more capability somewhere,
Right.
That's what you want.
Right.
And that's the way I would answer your question.
I would say as a fellow Nebraskan that when I traveled the state for 3 weeks in August, all across the state, for the first time I heard Nebraskans talk about foreign policy and ask questions about foreign policy. We didn't hear that in any campaign, any debates, any forums, but people in Nebraska are focused on this. They know it's a concern. They are frightened, but they want this addressed in a way that we know the enemy is going to be defeated. And they expect us to do our job. If that means staying here longer, then we need to do that. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Senator
Chair.
Fischer. Senator Manchin.